Welcome to This Explainer. Ever wonder why your conscious desires for success, health, or happiness so often seem to just hit a brick wall? Why, no matter how hard you consciously try to change your life, you end up stuck in the exact same frustrating patterns? Well, today we are decoding this mystery by looking at Dr. Joseph Murphy's transformative manual for the human mind, The Miracle Power of Your Mind. We're going to explore exactly why those conscious efforts fall short and how you can actually rewrite your mental software. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. Number 1, your 2 inner minds. Number 2, how beliefs shape reality. Number 3, rewiring health and wealth. And finally, number 4, reprogramming your subconscious system. Let's get right to it. Part 1, your 2 inner minds, uncovering the 90%. To really grasp Dr. Murphy's blueprint, you gotta think of your mind as this incredibly powerful operating system. And this brilliantly illustrates the exact glitch we experience when we rely on the classic iceberg analogy. That tiny 10% visible above the water? Yeah, that's your conscious mind. It's the part of you overthinking what to have for dinner tonight. But a staggering 90% is your subconscious. It is totally invisible, yet it is this massive underlying structure that is actually steering the ship of your life, regardless of where that top 10% thinks it wants to go. So let's put these two side by side. Your conscious mind, it acts as the rational, logical gatekeeper. But your subconscious is the actual power plant. I mean, it is endlessly powerful and, most importantly, completely non-judgmental. The source material actually compares the subconscious to a bed of rich, fertile soil. It is going to grow absolutely any seed you plant in it. A beautiful flower, a destructive weed, it doesn't care. It doesn't argue, it just dutifully grows exactly what it's good at. To really lock this concept in, let's look at Sarah's story. Sarah was an aspiring business owner who did literally everything right on a conscious level. She read the books, made the plans, set the goals. But every single time she got close to hitting it big, bam, she unconsciously self-sabotaged. Why? Well, her subconscious soil was holding on to a massive weed planted way back in childhood, this ingrained message that money is the root of all evil. Her inner power plant was simply faithfully executing that old programming, trying to protect her from something she was taught to distrust. Part 2, how beliefs shape reality, the underlying code. So the crucial point here is understanding this core definition, the law of belief. According to Murphy, beliefs are not just opinions, mental attitudes, or passing thoughts. They are absolute commands that your subconscious mind executes without question. This is way, way beyond wishful thinking, or just repeating some positive affirmation you don't actually buy into. If a belief feels deeply true to you, your subconscious is going to organize your entire nervous system, your behavior, and your perception just to prove it right. Take James, for example, a university student carrying around 15 years of crippling math anxiety. Now, this absolute command wasn't based on some innate lack of intelligence, not at all. It was a weed planted by a single offhand critical comment from a third-grade teacher. And since the subconscious is wildly impressionable in early childhood, that seed just took root. For a decade and a half, his subconscious obediently executed that command, ensuring every math test simply confirmed his deepest belief. But look at this incredibly powerful quote from the text: "Whatever you believe with feeling and conviction becomes your reality." James actually used this exact principle to reverse his 15-year curse. Every single night, in what Murphy calls the hypnagogic state, that drowsy, super impressionable window right before you drift off to sleep, James gently planted a new belief. He quietly affirmed that math was just natural to him. He didn't force it, he just planted it with feeling. And guess what? Within a single semester, his grades completely transformed because he simply gave his operating system a brand new command. Part 3. Rewiring health and wealth, the output of your system. Okay, let's look at how this programming actually plays out in the physical world. Murphy talks about something he calls the healing presence. He makes the case that the mind and body are just one integrated whole. Your subconscious governs every autonomic function, every cell, every organ. It possesses this innate restorative intelligence. The source shares this fascinating case of a man with arthritis who was basically told there were no medical solutions left. But by engaging this mind-body connection through really relaxed, deeply felt visualization every night, affirming that his cells were vibrant and whole, he reported dramatic, progressive improvement. He consciously directed his subconscious to do what it does best, which is heal. Now, shifting gears from our physical health to our bank accounts, we hit this concept of the prosperity thermostat. This is basically your subconscious financial set point, usually locked in during early childhood conditioning. It dictates exactly what level of abundance actually feels normal and safe to your deep mind. And here's the frustrating truth. No matter how incredibly hard you work consciously, if your internal thermostat is set to struggle, your subconscious will find highly creative ways to drag you right back to a state of struggle. It's exactly like a room's thermostat kicking on to return to its set temperature. Which brings us to Murphy's pretty stark rule here. Wealth is a state of mind. Poverty is a state of mind. If you want to reset a low prosperity thermostat, you can't just obsess over dollar amounts or stare at vision boards. You actually have to change the fundamental frequency of your mind. Murphy argues that genuine gratitude for what you already have is the exact frequency needed to reset this thermostat. When a mind is genuinely saturated with gratitude, it shifts completely out of lack mode and begins to perceive and attract entirely new opportunities. Let's move to and see how this builds into part 4, reprogramming your subconscious system, the debugging manual.
All right, here is where the theory becomes practice. This is Murphy's specific step-by-step technique, often called the art of scientific prayer. Step 1, deep relaxation. You absolutely must quiet down that critical, analytical conscious mind first. It acts as a gateway. Step 2, vivid emotional visualization. You want to bring a super clear image of your desire to mind, seeing it as a present fact. But here's the real secret sauce. Emotion acts as the carrier wave to drive that image deep into the subconscious. It has to feel real. And step 3, release and trust. Once you plant that seed, you've got to let it go. You can't be anxiously digging it up every single day to check if it's growing.
Let's see these exact steps play out in the story of a struggling writer. For years 1 through 3, it was nothing but constant rejections and total defeat. But then, she started applying Murphy's debugging method. Every single night, she'd get deeply relaxed, vividly imagine holding her published book, attach intense feelings of pride and gratitude to that image, and then just release it into sleep. By month 5, she gets a completely unexpected introduction to an editor. By month 11, she signed a publishing contract. Her conscious mind firmly planted the seed, and her subconscious found a route she never could have foreseen. But listen, we really need to address the bugs in this system. The source strongly warns about 3 negative patterns that act exactly like subconscious malware, literal viruses on your mental hard drive: fear, guilt, and resentment. You can do all the visualization in the world, but carrying these around is like needing Norton antivirus for your soul. It's like trying to drive a sports car with a handbrake firmly yanked up. They will neutralize your positive efforts every single time. Murphy even noted a case of a guy who couldn't keep a job in any industry. Why? Because a deep, completely unaddressed resentment toward an old boss was continuously poisoning his present opportunities. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the profound question it raises. How do we actually dissolve these subconscious blocks permanently? I mean, if fear, guilt, and resentment are this destructive malware, how do we possibly wipe our hard drive clean so our new programming can actually take root?
The answer lies in Murphy's radical self-forgiveness formula. I fully and freely release. I forgive you completely. I am free and you are free. All is well. And look, this isn't just about taking the moral high ground or being a nice person. It is a mechanical requirement for your mental operating system. Clearing this ground, deeply forgiving yourself for past mistakes, and totally releasing others is absolutely required before new seeds can actually grow. You simply have to clear out the weeds to plant the flowers.
Which brings us to our final slide and a really provocative question to leave you with. Who is writing your story right now? Remember, you are not a fixed person, and your current circumstances, they're definitely not your destiny. The beliefs running your subconscious operating system right now were very likely written by someone else. A parent, a teacher, a past failure, or society at large. And you have simply been living out their software ever since. So I challenge you, stop living out that old programming. Tonight, right before you go to sleep, tap into that incredibly powerful 90% and start planting a brand new seed.